long story short is Harley sued me for $126 million. They won.
Oh my
they
God.
won.
Print hustlers, welcome back. Special episode, Josh Kent at SunFrog today. He is running a massive print-on-demand facility out of Northern Michigan. And I mean massive. 100,000 plus square foot facility, tons of people and equipment, just next level technology. But not only that, he's had two huge phases of the business, reaching north of 150 million in sales. And then poof. He had to pivot. So we're going to dive into this story. It's an incredible one.
If you want to hear about some lawsuits, buckle up. And we're talking Harley-Davidson. So that was incredible. And he's got this sweet Rock Impress setup going and talking about all this different stuff they've done. So we wouldn't be able to do it without our sponsors, though, Bruce. Do you want to lead it off?
That's right. And this one we talked about quite a bit in this episode, stalls. So specifically for Fill Engine and Stalls' shuttle presses plus projectors. Josh gets into some of those. But Stalls, if you're ready to take custom apparel to the next level, Stalls is a leader in heat printing solutions. Whether you're a small business or just starting out, or an established brand that's scaling. Use the code HUSTLER20. That gets you 20% off your next transfer order. Stalls has got the equipment, the transfers, and the support to help your shop grow and be a success.
Bruce, have you heard of multicraft_daddy? I think last time I checked, he's at like 1,400 followers, which that's a pretty big deal. Because if you need ink supplies or a daddy or just entertaining content, Multicraft Screen Printing and Digital Supplies for over 50 years has been providing you with the top brands at competitive prices. You can mention the Printavo pod and receive an extra 10% off your first order. Dave at Multicraft heard that we wanted to give away some supplies. So every episode, he gives away a case of PMI tape. So you can message him on Instagram. That's multicraft_daddy. Leave him a nice comment. Tell him his videos are great. I think he's doing screen printing history videos recently. So we appreciate you, Dave, and the Multicraft team.
I got more giveaways. EasyWay gives away $250 of product credit every single month. EasyWay.com/giveaway. Enter in your info and you are entered in. Make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier with EasyWay systems, chemicals, and equipment. So that's EasyWay.com/giveaway. Just drop your info in and have a chance to win the $250.
Sweet. If you need a solution to improve efficiency and reduce costs in your art department, you need to hit up Graphic Source. They're the industry-leading outsource options for your shop by truly becoming a part of your team. They plug and play with Printavo and other shop management softwares when it comes to SEPs, mockups, creative art, order management, embroidery, digitizing, back office admin, and customer service. There's no better company in our industry to work with. They have over 40 years in the game. They really know and understand shop needs and have a proven track record of success. On your first order for a vector, SEP, or embroidery order, you can get 50% off by mentioning the Printavo podcast. We use them at Campus Ink, and they are a staple to our business. So thanks so much, Graphic Source. Let's get to the episode.
Welcome, Josh Kent, to the podcast. Actually, we've been reaching out that little bit back and forth for a little bit to get you on since you posted this incredible video on your LinkedIn 2 months ago. Steven texted me a link to it. And you were basically doing a little selfie video shop tour. And part of this is we wanted to go a little bit deeper into it, and I'll share the video while we talk about it. And also just talk about you and your shop and background. I know you guys were chit-chatting about Michigan stuff. You guys are based in Northern Michigan at SunFrog. Is a company that you started.
Are you a Michigan fan or a Michigan State fan?
I sell both, so I'm both.
I was a Michigan fan after Illinois lost.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. One of our clients has all the collegiate licenses, game day, and so we get to sell all the collegiate licensing. So I'm a fan of every team.
We will become very good friends because I will root for any other team that we represent as long as they're not playing Illinois. So we are a fan of the sport. Josh, you are the original Frog.
I am. Yeah, it's been about 15 years. We've been at it for a while.
And when you guys see this video, I think you're getting out like 3,000 to 5,000 pieces a day on demand, something nuts.
Yeah, more like 20,000 a day.
20,000 pieces a day on demand, and you've built that in 15 years, and we are just meeting now. So we are uncovering the rock to find a frog, and you have run a behemoth of a facility in Michigan. You got 30 seconds to tell us about SunFrog real quick so that people can listen up in their chairs and be like, uh-oh, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, I mean, for those listening and for you guys, depending on where you want to go with this conversation today, there's SunFrog 1.0, which was we went B2C, direct to the consumer. We were very much like a YouTube, right? Consumer-generated content. We got sued so bad that we pivoted into POD completely for other brands, to where today everything that leaves our building, it's for other customers, multi-million-dollar brands. We're the fulfillment engine underneath it, taking care of them. And then, yeah, you fast forward and we've really refined our product. We started with just T-shirts and stuff, and today it's everything from headwear to footwear and everything in between for some of the largest brands on the internet. So hopefully people listening are like, I want to hear more. So
we want to hear about you getting sued. That's what Bruce is going to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Steven knows me well, yeah.
Yeah. You guys want to start there? That's a fun story.
Yeah, so you said it was self-generated, as in people upload designs like an old Teespring or...
Yeah, we were like probably Teespring's biggest rival at the time. We both started at the same time. They went more crowdsourcing. We went more Amazon storefront, right, where you just had categories and you could buy anything. What made SunFrog so powerful is if you had an affiliate link, we would give you 50% of the sales. So if you shared a $42 hoodie, we'd give you $21, just like that. And you could instantly request the payout. So we exploded. We went from $2 million our first year to over $100 million our second year, to over $150 by our third. I mean, we're just like boom, 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 just crushing it. What happened, though, herein lies the problem with it. Anyone could upload anything. There's a little bit of a problem there. And this is pre-AI, pre-screening. It was a human looking at the stuff. And there were days where we were getting tens of thousands of designs a day. You couldn't keep up with it. And we could turn off obvious. Like an obvious infringement would be like the Incredible Hulk, right? That's clearly Marvel. And then they'd take the Detroit Lions and put a jersey on the Incredible Hulk. So they're actually infringing twice. And then we would get C&Ds from people like, shut it down. So we would always shut it down as fast as we could. But where we got in trouble is trademark. So for your listeners listening, if you were in the print business, there is something called copyright, there's something called trademark. Copyright has rules, right? There's something called the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It protects all of us. And what it means is, like, if somebody designs a tree and they print it, and then somebody else designs it and changes it a little bit, but it's still that original art, you have an obligation to send what's called a cease and desist. All right? They take it down. If they don't, then you can take them and sue them civilly. But trademark is the Chevy symbol, the Ford logo, right? Like, that is their trademark. They're doing business as that. If you mess with a trademark, you automatically lose. And at that point, you're federal. You're going to federal courts. So what happened with me is some kids uploaded the Harley-Davidson symbol. We sold about $160,000 worth of Harley stuff. And I know that sounds like a lot. Like, how'd you not see that? But remember, we were doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year. I mean, you just didn't see it. And long story short is Harley sued me for $126 million. They won.
Oh my God.
They won a settlement judgment where the judge is like, we don't even need a trial. Boom. 26 million, I think, was the final number that they got. And Harley was just one. Bravado, Disney, Hamilton, the play, Bon Jovi, Beyoncé, the list goes on and on. Everybody was suing me. And it didn't help that at the time, I'm in Forbes, I'm in Entrepreneur, I'm in Cranes, I'm in all these articles. Like,
so they think you're the big guy. And they want.
I'm feeling like the golden boy. Like, everything I'm touching is turning to gold. Well, it all got sucked up real fast. So it was kind of a wild ride. But I learned that trademark stuff is toxic. So if anybody is listening today and they're in the print business, they have a website, do not mess with someone else's logo, because it's not like how many sales did you have? You lose.
What was the peak revenue you hit?
We were tracking over 150 million when it came crashing down pretty quick. And if you guys remember back, YouTube had the same problem. Remember, YouTube was getting sued all the time, and then Google swept in and bought them. Google didn't buy old Josh here, so we had to pivot. So what we did is we lost every single lawsuit we were ever a part of. Because they were suing us for trademark, and we lost, and it was damage control. So SunFrog had to pivot, and we had to pivot hard and fast.
Wait, but what does it mean to owe a judgment for 20 something or 30 something? Like, are you writing a check or what?
It's called a payment plan. So what happens is I didn't just have one $26 million lawsuit. I had stacks of them. Now, Harley has the record, and I think I have a record. This is not a good record to have, but I think I have the highest loss for a trademark infringement case in history. Last I knew. Hopefully I've lost that crown, because it's not a good one to have. But what happens is, guys, like, if you get in this kind of trouble, it just stacks up. It stacks up to the point where they're going to kill you, not physically, but they're going to kill your business. The best thing you can do in business is negotiate. So what we did is I went to every one of them and I made deals. I'm like, hey, you can't get 26 million, and you can't get 7 million, you can't get 3, you can't get, but what I can do is I can pay you over time. And everybody agreed, we'll take your money and you just stay alive and just keep paying us. The alternative would be just file Chapter 7, bankrupt the thing, and be out. I didn't want to do that. That's just not my style, right? I'm like, I'm not giving up. But we pivoted. And I would say probably about a year or so ago, we finally paid off our last payment. Like, we were lawsuit free completely. There's no lawsuits. Everything's cleaned up, paid for. Here I am. We've been offline 7 years. SunFrog.com is not sold to direct consumers for 7 years. And now, for the last 7 years, we've been printing for other people, because we were very fortunate, right? Like, as we're building this, let's call it little empire at the time, we became, I believe, North America's largest DTG printer. We had over 150 brother printers. And I remember they were making them in Japan and shipping them to us. And I remember asking Brother, I'm like, hey, who has more than me? And they're like, the next largest is like maybe 30 with, I think, Zazzle or Cafe Press. Like, and we're at like 150. And I've never heard of anyone having more printers running 24/7 than us at that peak. So again, guys, like, lawsuits come in. Now I've got all this equipment. Like, what am I going to do? I'm a printer. We pivoted into fulfilling for other people. So I just started reaching out, very, very, very blessed that I was able to connect with people that needed our horsepower. So we were able to pivot this monstrous company that was building and printing for itself to printing for other people. And that's what we are today. Today, everything that's leaving this building, it is leaving on one of our brands. And I don't own any of the brands. They're all other parties. And we've got about 40 or 50 customers. And I think that always surprises people, because people are like, well, you must have thousands of customers. I'm like, no, 40 or 50 of them. I know every one of them by name, who they are, what their business plan is. But they're all multi-million-dollar customers.
Yeah, wasting your time. That's enterprise. Yeah.
We're really enterprise level. We are doing like the size tagging. We're doing like the little side patches on hats and things like it's primo, because it needs to be. And a lot of our customers have licensing. Like one of our largest customers has an NFL licensing deal. So it's like they're a little strict on colors, SLA, like service level agreements and time frame. Like, we're definitely running at like a, like you said, enterprise level.
What was the total, if you could say the total amount you had to pay off, if you could say, like, in the last 7 years to get that lawsuit down to nothing?
I don't know the top line number. It's in the millions, obviously, but I you're kind of like asking me to relive a nightmare. Like, that's
what this is.
Yes, yeah. This is like a therapy session right now. Can you feel me tensing up? It's like, yeah, like, you guys have to understand, like, when you're crushing it like that and everybody wants to talk to you, and like, I was on podcasts then. I mean, I don't know if I've done a podcast in the last 7 years. You guys reached out and I was like, what are we going to talk about? Like, those were like what felt like the glory days, and it was so good. And then it was ugly for a minute. And I feel like as a CEO, there's like wartime and peacetime. I have been to war. I am a wartime CEO. I have been through that. You think when COVID didn't stress us out. And I was so proud of our company during COVID. It's like, COVID's a walk in the park compared to the lawsuits we had stacked on us.
I want to get into the scaling of part two, but I also want to talk about the scaling of part one, because you talked about, basically 0 to 150 plus $1 million of sales. I just can't even imagine the cash flow management aspect of it, let alone the physical logistics of ordering, processing, shipping. We had a great tour at Jed's business in Ohio, steaks manufacturing. I'm sure you guys are friends. And just the shipping logistics of print on demand with the cubbies and waiting for one piece that's here or one piece somewhere else and so on was just incredibly intense. What was that scaling like with the people and cash flow management in the phase one side?
Phase one side was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like phase one, like the .com boom, if you want to call it that, of SunFrog, the Teespring SunFrog era, was pretty epic because we were basically running a very simple model and we were making a lot of money. And it's not very common in business just to have the money just kind of rainfall on you like that.
D2C, right? So you're collecting that money up front?
Yep. I'm prepaid, and I just got like $24 for a shirt that I'm going to pay $2 for. I was using, I think, a Gildan 5000. I'm paying $2 for a shirt I just made $24 on. Now, there's an affiliate that I'm going to give $12 to, but I just made $12 on a shirt, and, so... throw a little labor in there. I'm still talking like maybe an $8 gross profit on it. So, we were stacking, so we were always very cash positive. It's like when we needed to buy our bigger building, we paid cash for it. When we, like everything you do, it's like cash. You're throwing money at problems. The problem with throwing money at problems is you're overpaying because time is not on your side. You're always behind on your orders, and you always just need to get it faster. So we're making deals with Brother to where they'll air freight in. That's an expensive way to fly a printer, from Japan versus putting it on a boat and waiting. Like everything is now.
What about the original tech that you built? So I'm thinking 7 years ago, Shopify is booming, starting to really boom. I was actually just looking at when I got on Shopify. Ready for this stat? I got on Shopify when Shopify's revenue was under $50 million.
Early adopter for sure.
Should have bought some stock then. I think I should have bought.
Well, I did when in college and sold it like a freaking idiot. So did you build this tech yourself? Was it a hack together thing that you just you're like, I'm going to do this? Are you an engineer? How did the technology come together?
Yeah, short backstory for you there is before there was a SunFrog, there was a little web development company. And it was me and 3 or 4 guys. A guy named Aaron Singler, Dan Jennings, Drew Sosha, a small group of us. And what we were doing is we were working on a website because every day we would come to the office and we'd build websites for lawyers, doctors, lawn care companies, that sort of thing. And we kind of didn't like it. We're like, we're working for the man. This sucks. Let's build our own website. And we built SunFrog. And we knew at that time that because we had launched people's websites and they just floated in cyberspace. They don't get anything unless there's something in it for them. So the affiliate model was part of SunFrog from the very get-go. I knew, and I'm a big Zig Ziglar fan. He always talks you want to make your dreams happen, you got to make other people's dreams happen. And so the affiliation of basically building SunFrog to where you could get assigned a number, and that number, if you're 5577, that is your number, and anything you linked, whether it was to our search page, our product category page, or a product, you link it on Facebook, a blog, and an email, you're getting 50%. People were making so much money so fast, and it took off so fast because we were giving them a tool that was wildly profitable. So that tech was us as a little web company. Now, were we prepared to build a website that could handle that kind of traffic? No. Site would keep going offline, just like Teesprings would, or Viral Styles would, or even YouTube would in the early years. Everybody would just go offline. And at one point, we were in the Alexa top 500th trafficked website on the planet in a 24-hour span, just because we had so much traffic to our website.
What does your team look like? When you're doing this crazy scaling, your close circle, who, thinking about and what they're improving on, what are the different roles they had? Well,
and at that point, it's all happening so fast. So you're not bringing in outside skill. We're leveling up, right? So our programmers, we were used to building small 4 or 5 page websites, some small intranet type systems. But then when you've got that kind of pressure on, you're learning under the gun. And it was such a fun time, very .com boomish, where, I mean, a lot of these guys were working around the clock. We were all fully invested, like, well, we just hit a lotto ticket. Like, it's working. Our dreams are coming true. So everybody's leveling up really quick. Oh, the site went offline. Why'd it go offline? Oh, not enough hardware. Yeah, you're buying servers and you're throwing money at everything. So it is kind of a wild, fun ride. It's a lot of companies, they say, fail under that kind of explosive growth. I think I've heard a GoPro story was similar to that, where it's just too much too fast. It's not always a good thing. It's a very, very difficult thing. Prior to running SunFrog, though, I had run a series of smaller businesses, and I feel like that gave me some groundwork to manage people, handle stress and all that. I think if it would have been my first business, I think it would have been over super fast.
What's ironic, so when we built the NIL store, so if you backtrack to COVID, online stores were booming. Printavo launched merch, right? And we found this tool on Shopify that could pay affiliates and do hard royalties, and it managed it all. So that's, when everyone was making money for other businesses during COVID, I installed this app on there and it would track it all and whatever. When we launched the NIL store, we launched it with the same tool. And the next thing you know, we had 4,000 athletes, 5,000 athletes, and we're managing payouts manually in QuickBooks and this and this and this. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm building a web app now to manage payments for this and this. And you have to scale production, right? I don't know. My mind is just kind of blown right now that it could go to that level of explosiveness. How did you what would a typical day look like for you in 2018? Was it, because you obviously don't want this thing to fail, but you're like, I can't keep up with this. What was your leadership team like? Walk us through a couple of those days.
Yeah, and we were all just young guys, and we're all just looking to make our career path. And we're all, like I said, we're all bought in and sold out. This is what we're doing. So what happens? You have to very quickly delegate, right? So one of the guys, Drew, he really took over on the programming and heading that up, because he was my main programmer guy, and Aaron Singler, and then this guy John Sewell, he was my production guy. He started as a printer, and then very quickly started having to manage, going from just being the printer to managing hundreds of people on a floor. We're all being stretched, right? And none of us are qualified. And I think that's the key part, is having that humility to all get around a table and say, we're all in over our heads. Everybody agree? Yeah. Okay. How can we help each other? What are we going to do? And just support each other in it. Because we didn't have, so-and-so's this rock star from here and this rock star from there. It's it's us. We're the underdogs, and we're just going to make it happen. And the day would look back to your question, hey, what's that day look like? It was a lot of little intensive meetings. It's all right, production, big part of what we're doing, right? Finance meeting, production meeting, dev meeting, prioritizing, trying to get out of firefighting, because everybody's firefighting at that point, right? It's what's your fire today? What's your fire today? But quickly trying to get out of firefighting and say, what do we need for a better tomorrow, and setting that up. And then those meetings over the years, they get smoother and smoother. And here we are 15 years later. The meetings are very disciplined, very KPI driven, where you're basically just checking the health monitor on everything. How's everything going? You're looking for problems before they come problems. And as a business matures, you get really good at spotting a problem before it's a problem. Because in business, it's there's always a nuclear warhead heading for you, and you just don't know it's in the sky yet. And it's our job as leaders and business owners to identify it before it even takes off. That might be a little graphic, but
let's talk about phase 2. This new chapter 2 of your business. Maybe there's future chapters too. What does the business look like today? People, warehouse square footage size. The thing looked huge from this video that you shared.
Yeah, it's a big building. I would say originally when I bought it was probably 80,000 square feet. And then we bolted on. I would say we're somewhere around 200,000-ish square feet amongst our main campus. And then, we're in a smaller town, so what we tend to do is buy up buildings in our industrial park for product storage. Yeah, what you're seeing there in that video is those are what we call our MEM press lanes. They're manual. I think MEM is just the brand on the side of them. Some are pneumatic, so they hit it with a foot, and then some of them they slide with their hand there. And you can see that's our old school way right there. So there's a projector system actually projecting the art. And that's an awesome thing because it allows our customer to control where it sits in reference to that collar.
80,000 square feet, but you're also buying up tons of neighboring spaces, basically, you said.
80 is the main, but we probably added another 40 to 60 to the 80. So I would say we're probably 120 to 150-ish on this building plus the other building. So I would say there's like 200,000 square foot of manufacturing.
So everything is POD. Now, I see a lot of transfers in DTF. Are you still running DTGs? Can you walk us through that transition from DTG to DTF?
Yeah, we went all in on DTF early, just like we went all in on DTG early. And every time we've got a lot of naysayers saying we're making the wrong move, I feel like being an early adopter has always served SunFrog well, because when we were early DTG, Teespring was over there running screens, and we were ripping them, I think, more efficient and better at the time. But a lot of people, screen's better. It's like, is it? They both have their problems. And now fast forward here to 2026, and we are 100%. Those 150 brother printers have either been sold off or recycled. They're non-existent in our building. And that was a big move. It took a lot of convincing, and it took a lot of R&D. We got that to where we are like, we're all in on it. And had a couple tough conversations with clients, and switching a client from DTG to DTF is a little scary to them. And when we did the pitch, we basically would take their best sellers and we would convert them to DTF, and we'd send them both. We say, wash it, wear it, all that sort of thing. We had the buy-in on every customer. I think we only lost one customer to it. And being a Michigan guy, you'd know it's the M22 brand out of Traverse City, big brand. Definitely a multi-million-dollar brand. They wanted to stay true to the screen, and I don't blame them because there's a big white sign. And that's the only client we lost in that transition. And it's just like, hey, it wasn't the right fit for them. And that's totally fine. I respect them. I love those guys. They love me. We're all good. But every other customer was totally fine with DTF. I believe, guys, that DTF is a superior product. And this might cause a little controversy in the comments and stuff, but if you were to do a wash test with screen, DTG, and DTF, that DTF is going to outlast all of them. There will be no degradation, no flaking, no cracking. If it's done right, it will way outwear a DTG shirt. That DTG shirt, even if it's perfect, is going to start showing some serious problems at about 15 washes.
So how did you get over, because the biggest hurdle in our industry is usually the hurdle of the owner, because first it was like, I hate DTG compared to screen, right? That was like hurdle number one, which you were past. You're like, I'm going all in on DTG. I feel like a lot of times as owners, we get in our own way and we don't like actually try it and see like, what do the customers think? How do you think about new technology that might not be, it might be inferior to start, right? Like the first DTF machines, they might've been bulletproof, right? Like the first DTF machines were going down all the time, curing, whatever, you name it. Bulletproof prints. How did you look past that? Or how do you look past inferior technology when you see a crazier upside? What is that process for you? Or do you, what is that? Because I think that there's something there.
I don't know if I've ever fully articulated this, so I'll try, but I think it's just looking at it from a high level, right? Because at a high level, you got to look at it and say, this is actually better for the customer. Better for the customer, and it's a win-win because it's better for us as a company. It can move faster, more efficiently, and there's so many labor wins that and cost of entry is lower. Like it's better in so many ways, and for the consumer, it's better. And when I talk to the companies that own the brand, everybody's just afraid of change. They really are, because it's like, oh, I've been doing it this way. This is what my customers expect, and it's like, do they expect it or do you expect it? And, I challenge people, like if you were to stand out in front of a Costco or a Walmart with our DTF print compared to a DTG print and just, hey, survey hundreds of people, what do you think? And then that starts challenging people to say, I actually think they'd like the softer one better. There is an expectation, and that's a real thing, but you can work through all those things. And for us guys, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners that are doing DTF, everybody seems to be texturizing now. If you're watching or listening to this and you're doing DTF and you're not texturizing it, you need to. But I would say as an early adopter, we were the first and only ones that I knew that were texturizing it. And at first we were kind of secretive about it. And what we would do is just take a low grit sandpaper, like a 40 or a 60, and we would actually, the second press, we'd smash into the DTF and actually damage it and push it into the fibers. But I'll tell you this, when the NFL got our first DTF samples, they said no. We got a no. And I'm like, well, what do you want them to feel like? They're like, we want it to feel more like screen. Smashed it with sandpaper. I'm like, you want it to feel gritty, like it went through a screen? And that simulated the best we could come up with. And it sent the same samples back, sandpaper. They're like, these are good.
And a lot of it is like the artwork too, right? Like adding halftones in there, like degrading degrading the art. And if anyone's listening now, there's some really good tools out there like DTF Prep, Vector Lab. There's like, I think you'll start to get ads on it, but there are some really, really good plugins now for helping your artwork ahead of time. That you can actually run it through like halftone processors, because it's completely different than setting up art for screen. It's a completely different process, or DTG. So that's really, really interesting. What about, so like you said, you guys do headwear. Do you guys do embroidery on demand? Like headwear on, how do you do the other types of things too?
Yeah, so like because of our customer base, again, these 40 or 50 multi-million-dollar type brands, these guys require everything to be on demand because nobody wants an inventory position. They'll take a little position, but they'll mostly only take a position if it's arbitrage stuff from China, like keychains, wallets, sunglasses, things that we don't make anyways. And then they would bring that in. That's like a 3PL service that we provide. We've got like our little mini Amazon setup. But most of our customers want everything on demand. So everything SunFrog is doing is truly print on demand. So our embroidery room, if you're an embroiderer guy or you're looking to get into it, we use a machine called the Tajimas. These Tajima machines, I believe, are the Mercedes of embroidery machines. And they have some software called Pulse. It might be called Pulse or Pulse ID, where our software can just send the artwork to it and it queues it up on machines. So when you walk into our room, you literally just see rows and rows of single heads. And on every hat, we just put a little barcode, and you can literally go up to a Tajima in our building, scan it, the artwork will pop up. And that artwork already knows the way the spools are configured, our 15 colors. And then we just throw that hat on there, and off it goes. And I would say our embroidery room is probably doing 80% headwear, hats, stuff like that. And probably 20% is like left chest, more corporate type.
And do the brands you work with have to hold their inventory at your facility? So like who's taking or are you ordering it one off for them and that's in there?
I would say, no, I'm going to throw out a loose percentage. I'm going to say 70% of our product is coming through normal distribution like S&S, Sanmar, One Stop being in Michigan, and all of our trucking is just one day. So we give our customers the whole S&S catalog, which is hundreds of thousands of SKUs, and they can order whatever they want, and it's here the next day. Now, the problem is, we know this, if we're in the print on demand business, order on demand business, we all struggle with this stateside. UPS and FedEx are not running those deliveries on Saturday and Sunday. So what we do is we bring product into our building. We call it core product. That product sits here because we run 7 days a week, and our customers want that tracking number. So the worst case scenario for a SunFrog customer is you buy a 5XL canary yellow shirt. That's not a popular shirt, by the way. 5XL canary yellow is sitting at S&S. We'll order it. But if you ordered it on Friday, it sits Saturday, Sunday. We order it Monday. It shows up Tuesday. It's 5 days old, and we haven't even touched it. That is the worst case scenario. But most of the time, you buy that 5XL canary yellow Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's here the next day. It gets printed, and out the door it goes. So it allows us to keep our turn times very quick because we're shooting for 2 days. And to do that, the product needs to be here. But our customers that reach out and add some, let's call it weird stuff, you want to use some safety colors or some neon colors or whatever, that's totally fine. You can do it. It's just going to dilute your 2-day turn to where you might end up averaging around 3 or 4 days. But it's better for us to not sit on the inventory because everything's so cyclical.
You've got, it sounds like you've got some powerful software behind the scenes helping predict the inventory for the weekend, handling all this internal processes and stuff. You guys also did some web development before SunFrog days. So is this all custom stuff?
Yeah, so fast forward 15 years of having a minimum of 4 to 6 full-time programmers in the building working on that software. I have got millions and millions and millions of dollars into our software, and I'm very proud of our software. but our software handles it all from auto ordering and checking prices at all those vendors and then grouping it, because it has to group it so that when the box shows up and we open it up, we've got a touch screen. And as you're hitting the touch screen, the label's printing, so you can throw it on the shirt and it's stacking. And as you're stacking it, it's building an art gang sheet in the background that's getting downloaded in the print room. So the DTF printer is printing a gang sheet that matches the stack of the cart. And it's all like almost simultaneous. So that when you get to a lane, those stacks are all perfectly stacked to match your cart.
You sound like a Fulfill Engine commercial.
I was about to say, but it sounds like next level though.
Hey, can we talk about that for a second? So obviously Stahl's incredible people. They've built Fulfill Engine. They have SF1 in Michigan. Bruce and I got, we're there in the fall. And that is a technical, it's a symphony. Like it's a symphony. Printfuls of the world, SunFrog, Stakes, all that stuff. When shops are looking at that, you're a $1 or $2 million shop and you're like, I want to get into print on demand is the future, right? That is the future.
Yep.
Saying like, I want to build this in my shop might be the worst advice to give someone, or maybe it's the best advice. What advice do you give print shops that are like, I want to get into print on demand? Don't do it right now, but I know I need it.
Yeah, so I used to, I would say we had to do it, right? We were in an era of time where there was no Fulfill Engine, and those guys have done a great job building that software. I would say Fulfill Engine is the closest thing to a public version of the SunFrog system, because no one will ever own the SunFrog system because it's so proprietary. And we get hit up all the time. Hey, would you sell us your software? And the answer is no, because we don't want to support it. We don't want to back it. That's not our business.
And it probably wouldn't even work for them anyway. It's probably so dialed for your...
It is so dialed in for us. I mean, it even has employee performance tracking. I mean, it's so ingrained into who we are. But again, it's millions. I believe it's our secret sauce. It is what allows us to do what we do at the level we do it. So somebody starting out, you can use Fulfill Engine. You can pay their setup and their monthly fee, and it's like you're paying pennies on the dollar for its true value. They've done a really good job.
And you can go see it running in where we saw, actually nearby you.
Because I think that's what the future of this industry is, there is this massive network that you can leverage if you do it correctly. And, we use, Printful, you name it. We still do our own stuff in-house, but we're not afraid to go, to look at someone and be like, hey, they can absolutely do that for us. And I think licensing, what I heard, Josh, is your secret sauce is you have 40 customers you get to deal with. That's it. But it's licensed, finished, it's super technical, but you have a niche and you're like, I'm going to just stay in that niche. Which I think that's probably one of the coolest parts, because if you did this for every PTO and every school, and that would just sound awful.
Yeah, I did that, right? I did that once before. I had an army of affiliates. Everybody's just a number, and you'd end up feeling like a banker because all you've got is just numbers moving. I like the SunFrog we are today. It's scalable and it's sustainable. It's not that roller coaster we were 1.0. 2.0 is it's a solid business that will be here for years and years to come, because I know all of our customers and all of our customers know me, and there's that intimacy with it. And I don't have to sift through thousands of customers and look at trends and stuff. I can just talk to them, and I do quite frequently. So it's very, very personable.
I'm thinking of 4 engineers, years of time, product management of those, all the maintenance and bugs and improvements, and then just go talk to Jason at Fulfill.
Yeah, be a lot easier.
I was gonna say the A word because it's 47 minutes and we haven't talked about AI yet. How are you guys using AI in your business as an owner? How are you using it? Employee adoption? Yeah, what's that like for you?
It's a really good question. We have started doing a lot of programming with it. Again, our system's been built for 15 years by humans, so we're a little nervous. So the way we started was give AI read access to our database, and then start making its own stuff with the ability to read it but not manipulate it. And then what we've been able to do is spin up some amazing tools off of it, like equipment management. So every piece of equipment in our building now has an ID, and it prints labels and does some really cool stuff, because I would say that part of our system was a little soft for us, and we were able to strengthen it up. And we were able to, with AI, as you guys know, to do it within hours, stuff that would have normally taken weeks or months. So I would say we're leaning into it carefully, maybe even a little nervously at times, but it is serving us well. I would say project after project, our faith is growing in it more and more. And I've seen stuff that's done in AI that are by non-developers and by developers. And the guys that are developers that actually get it, it's way cleaner, way more bug-free, way more usable. So I think we're very fortunate. We've got in-house developers that know the industry for 15 years and now are bolting on the AI knowledge. So I'm excited about some of the stuff that's going to come for us on a development side. But I would also say AI just throughout the entire building. Whether it's building me a hit list, I'm looking for a few new customers, building a hit list, like going out and finding scrapers to pull their numbers on their Shopify store. So when I reach out, I know they're a multi-million-dollar account. I'm not reaching out to just Joe Schmo. And it's helping in so many regards. It's really impressive.
Josh, you're a next level business guy. You just talked about outbound kind of sales hunting. If you wanted, we talk about this a lot on this program. A lot of shop owners want to do this. If you were to go after, like you just talked about, 5 different customers, what is the process you're doing? You just said, I want to understand the Shopify sales numbers so I can go in having some context.
Yeah.
What else?
How do you hunt?
Oh, guys, I'm going to give you my secret sauce. Here it is. So it's not as hard as everybody makes it out to be. I think everybody over engineers it. I am very, very limited on time, right? I'm in all these meetings all the time. I'm the number one sales guy at SunFrog. I'm the only sales guy at SunFrog because I only need to take my, let's say, 50 customers to 51 or 52 this year, right? I don't need to add a lot because every year my customers are automatically growing. If I take care of my customers, they grow and I get to ride that wave. But with new capacity of DTF, we now have capacity where we can add quite a few, let's say I can bolt on another 10 million in sales this year. So this year in 2026, I'll add 10 million more in sales. And here's how I'll do it. I'll build a list that'll probably start from ChatGPT. Then I'll build a spreadsheet and then I will send them samples. I will send them looms. I'll personally send them a message like, hey, I like your brand. I see what you're about. And I will sell. I will give them a small little sales pitch. And I would say my open rate is really high, and my close rate, if I can talk to them, is nearly 100%. If they're willing to actually get on a call with me, I get them. And I think it comes down to vetting who you're going after. So if somebody's listening to this and like, man, I just need more business, I need more business. Who do you need to do business with? Because there's good business and there's bad business. There's A customers and B customers. And there's the 80-20 rule and how that all applies to this, that 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of your customers. Go find those. Double down on those. Don't just take on busy work that's going to spread your staff thin and cost you money. So I don't know if I really answered your question, but I would be strategic. Really strategic.
I mean, you're spearfishing, but you're still running an outbound process and you are your best salesman, which, that's what you should be spending your time doing. I'll give a tool. Bruce, have you heard of RB2B or Josh, RB2B? So you put this on your website, you connect it to Slack, and anyone that comes to your website that has a LinkedIn, it will come into your Slack and say, this person just visited your website. Do you want to connect with them on LinkedIn? It is like my favorite channel. And I do a lot of outbound to some like bigger things, like we're pitching MBA on something or this or that. And then next thing you know, I'll see like, oh, someone has just visited our site, and I will then just connect with them and send them an email a couple minutes later. And it's kind of what, like you have to be methodical. You have to be tastefully persistent. During the Final Four, we were pitching one of the big retailers that kind of was stuck in their old ways and just, older demographic. And I said, I'm shipping you a shirt every day to your house until you say yes. And we went 4 days and he goes, you're really going to keep this up? I go, yeah. And they finally placed their orders and, we're switching them over. So like you have to be personal and different and I think a little crazy. They respect it, and you have to be told no 5 times or ignored 5 to 10 times before someone says yes. And even you're doing it at the scale that you're operating at, which I think is super, super cool.
The one thing I would just add to that is, because like in this course of an 8 to 10 hour day, like I personally don't want to spend more than like 30 minutes a day doing it. That's why I'm just so like intentional about who I'm going to reach out to. Just because I'm going to go about my day, but when I do sales, I want it to be super intentional because I don't want to spend all day doing it.
I like that, actually, time boxing it pretty well, because it does get daunting and it gets pushed off further and further. Josh, I want to talk about about part 2 of this video. So you put out again this video. The part 2 is, okay, hey guys, look, this is how we used to do things with the shuttle mem presses and the rows of them, and people are still doing it. And then you said, this is how we're doing things now. And you've got, you walk over to the other side. It's like a 180 degree, but it's in the same warehouse. And you've got these rock impress running with I don't remember the name, Ross, sorry, or actually not Ross anymore, Jared. They suction cup the transfer, put it onto the platen there. It goes around and someone's just loading and pulling off shirts. And it looks like a bunch of these going on down a row. Talk about this transition. What do you get more out of it? Why did you do this?
Yeah, I think this is actually a great topic for your audience. If someone is listening and they're like, why would you spend all this money on this equipment? This is why. You do it for 2 reasons. The number one reason you do this is to save on labor. You do not get these machines until you've got enough labor to get the savings. So we were able to cut a serious amount of staff. I'm just going to throw out a loose number of, let's just say 40 or 50 people no longer work here because of automation. And you're like, at first, oh, that sounds terrible, depending on who you are, or it sounds great. But with that, everyone who works here now makes $2 an hour more than they did last year. And on top of that, SunFrog is more profitable. And when we're more profitable, we're stronger, healthier to live and fight another day, right? So everybody's winning with this automation. But had I brought this automation in earlier, we would not have been ready for it. And somebody might be listening to this thinking, I want to get into it. I need to start with these machines. You don't need to start with these machines. What you need to start with are the first part of the video, where there's just a projector, and Stahl sells the 2 projector setup. And it's a nice piece of hardware, and it projects your art and everything. That's where you need to start, because the labor to run a lane is so cheap, and the hardware is so cheap, that if you're charging, like, say, $4 or $5 a print, and you can do 14 to 1,500 prints a day, the machine is paid for the first day. Like, this is a wildly profitable world to live in POD. DTF compared to DTG, how would you get that kind of units out in DTG? 1,500 a day? You're talking a massively expensive piece of hardware. Or if you did what I did, you stack a bunch of brothers at like 40 grand a piece. You start stacking them around, and then before you know it, you have a huge dryer. You're somewhere around $250,000 investment to get out the same numbers that I would argue a $5,000 investment could do with these manuals, right? Because I think we're paying about $2,200 for the manual presses that go back and forth. We get 2 of those. The projectors are $50 projectors on Amazon, and a PC to just broadcast your art. So we're talking less than $5,000. And I can rival $250,000 to $500,000 set of machinery. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, obviously, I'm keeping the printers out of that. I'm just saying the production lanes. But when you're doing this, you got all these people, right? Because you got somebody printing, somebody pressing, somebody folding, somebody bagging. So you're 4 or 5 people to do those kind of numbers. And when you go to a rock, you've got 1. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I've got rows of people working, I've got dozens, or in my case, hundreds of people working, the rock is the answer to all your problems. Because it's going to come in, it's going to do it for less, and it's never going to call in sick, and it's going to be more consistent. It's dropping that for perfectly every time.
Oh, you've got the impress with the suction cup thing, the auto puller, and you have the rock fold machine. So there's probably a couple $100,000 right there in equipment, right? When you think about this in your head, do you actually measure and be like, okay, people, there would have to be 7 people and their salaries are this machine to finance it is this much? Is it a pretty simple equation for you? Like, what's your napkin math?
Yeah, the napkin math is it pays for itself in a year. Like within 1 calendar year, let's just say I spent $1 million. Let's just say that $1 million, I have that $1 million back. And I'm able to, in that same math, give everybody on the floor $2 an hour more. So everybody that works here is way happier. Everybody's making $2 an hour more. And SunFrog's making $1 million to pay off a machine. And then the next machine, it's just a win, 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 win. I'm all about multiple wins. If you guys haven't noticed theme through this call, everybody's winning.
Do you finance it, Josh?
No, we usually pay cash. And what I usually like to do, and I appreciate Rock, and I don't know if they'll appreciate me telling this to the world, but they're pretty cool with dicing it up. I prefer to dice stuff up into chunks. So if I'm going to spend $1 million, let me give you $250,000 now, another, and then we just have like checkpoints. And that to me always keeps the guy selling you the hardware very engaged in all of your problems. And you don't write that last check until like everything's like, hey, we're happy.
That was a Ross deal, not a Jared deal. I'm just Jared's listening to this like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's gonna be like,
I'm
Josh, shut your mouth, dude. Like, cash up front.
Hey, we want the dice. We want the SunFrog dice special. Okay, we did get one question because we have this exec group, Fabric, and we kind of posted this video and like we're gonna talk about it. On the Rock Impress, if the design changes over time, right? Do you actually have it programmed to work one design at a time with the suction cups, or does it have to be the same run?
Oh, we never do. I shouldn't say never, but everything's one-off. So every single design in the stack's different.
So the transfers have to be perfectly stacked with the shirts.
They do.
And if someone misstacks a transfer, it could switcheroonie.
Here's how you fix that. We put a code on there. So we put an optical eye over it. And so every time that piece of transfer gets lifted, our little computer checks it. It's like, that's the shirt.
So it's double checking before it's pressing.
Yeah, our guys built some really cool software that we bolted onto theirs, where when you lay a shirt down, you scan the barcode on the shirt. So it knows it's a medium black Gildan 5000. And when it goes around and that art gets laid down, it checks that artwork. And it's like, oh, it's a yellow smiley face that belongs on this. And if anything doesn't match, the screen goes red and the machine stops. And I can hear it from my office. It's a loud, annoying scream. I never hear it because it doesn't happen. Because the systems upstream are so dialed in, a cart never comes missing anything, and our transfers are never out of order to get to the machine because the machine can't stop. It's got to keep going. But that is the safeguard, because I will be honest, like I think when we first launched it, we had about 400 get mismatched, just like you said. 400 customers got the wrong shirt. So we got to run the cart again, and everybody gets a free shirt. That could get expensive really fast.
I mean, yeah, we have 30,000 athletes. They each have 10 products, fronts and backs. So we have something like 250,000 unique pieces of artwork, and everything has to match. And that's something that, like, you know, we pull it up and look at it manually, but that just makes my, like, oh my gosh, that mistake could multiply over and over again. With the MEMS,
Well, take it upstream a little bit, right? Take it upstream. When it's printing, it's all ganged in order. Because remember, as they were stacking, they were verifying the gang. So then it gets printed in this big gang sheet. And then we've got these big, we're running these big Venoms. They're 63 inches wide, and they're printing very fast. And then they go to a cutter that prints cuts from left to right. And the cutter has a little barcode ring. She's scanning it. Deep, 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 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. She just has that rhythm all day. And then that's just verifying right there that by the time that stack gets down there, the stack's sitting on top of the cart with all the shirts, you load that machine, it's all perfect. Because it's all so systematized. There's no human doing a gang sheet. There's no human cutting. Because before we had the cutting bed, we had 22 people in a cutting department with scissors. 22 people. That was.
What happens if that shirt has a front and a back, though?
Yeah, we have front and back carts, and we've got enough of these impresses. It goes to the front impress, that gets run through, then goes to the back impress, gets the backs, and then it goes to the folding machine. So everything's got like, think when you go to the airport, your ticket tells you where to go. Everything here is preordained. We know what terminal you're in, we know what gate you're at, and we know where you need to be when you need to be there. So everything's got smooth flow to it. And a lot of it's color coded too. So, and I would say this: everything's getting a size tag. So your front and back size tag too. So it's going to a size tag impress, where it's just got little platens, and those guys are just cranking, just getting the size tag on. Then it goes to another cart. So the integrity has to stay all the way through.
And finishing holograms, the right hologram. Like we've got 12 different holograms based on the type of school, and it is so hard to keep it straight. I mean, it's a video. You guys built a video game that people play.
Yeah. I really should shoot a video that runs it all the way through, because there's little moments all along the journey that save just massive amounts of labor. It's like, oh, that machine, the $70,000 machine replaced 20 people? Yeah, there's a time and a place for all these investments.
Where does SunFrog and just print on demand overall go from here? You're on the cutting edge. You've been on the cutting edge, let's say, for the last 15 years. Where do you see things going from here? Shake up the 8-ball. What does it show?
This is what I think it looks like. I was talking to a DTG printer the other day, and he said, Josh, you should check out DTG. He's like, it's where it should have been 10 years ago. He's like, these machines are huge, but the product's amazing. He's like, can I interest you in one? I said, no. I said, I believe in my whole heart that DTF will outpace DTG even where it is today. We stand a better chance of it going farther, faster. Like I was seeing videos recently of powderless adhesive, where the powder's gone and everybody's like, there's so much R&D, so many people want this space, and there's also guys that are claiming they can do 2,500 prints an hour. These machines are going to end up being like giant Xerox machines where transfers are boom, 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 just falling as fast. And then the cutters are getting built in. Like, I'm super excited. And because of what we do, we get to see a lot of that before it's at market. So I am like just so excited for what's coming later this year and what's coming early next year. And a lot of these guys offer to, hey, will you run my machine? It's like, yeah, if it works, absolutely. So again, being an early adopter and being that guy, I think helps us get some unique opportunities.
My thesis is DTF will outpace screen at some point. Do you think that's there?
I think the thing we really need right now is the softer hand feel. Like we can texturize it. So like, and with our art techniques and texturizing, I think a lot of times I can fool a screen guy. I think it's that good where a screen guy can't tell the difference. And that's how you know you're winning. But let's take it a step farther. If you could close your eyes and feel each other and you don't feel like it's like discharge or something, like if you could get it really, really soft, that would just own the market. And everything I've seen so far, the softer takes longer to cure.
You know what we should do at Long Beach is get like the best water-based printers. Like let's get Night Out, like Eric Solomon's stuff. Some of the best screen printers, some of the best, guys that are running Cornettes, Polaris's, and like all get the same art and see if people could know the difference. And
like the old Coke Pepsi taste test.
A Coke Pepsi taste test challenge of the softest hand. And then you can all sit there and stroke each other's egos and stuff. And, and one person, one shop will be crowned the champion. That would be cool.
Dude, that'd be a lot of fun. You'd have to validate it. When it's all done, you got to throw them in a washer and you got to wash them. Because there's some tricks to under curing stuff to make it feel softer. I just learned this the other day. They're like, you want something really soft hand? They're like, just don't cure it enough. I'm like, well, then it's going to wash out. They're like, yeah, well, I'm like, oh, shoot, no. So yeah, I love your idea, though. Like, I think that would be super cool. It'd be fun. And you could just have like a leaderboard or something, just like blindfold people.
Let's do it. We have to, maybe we'll do we need to like get a sweepstakes associated to it or something like that. And Ross can sit in a chair and judge it or something.
This is awesome. You are a next level owner, and we always love having next level owners on the program. Follow Josh Kent. Just search for him, Josh Kent SunFrog at LinkedIn, because you're always posting cool stuff, and I appreciate the time coming on.
Josh, if someone wants to work with you, what are the qualifications?
Usually, like I ask if they do at least $1 million a year. I always take on a few underdogs. Like if I see they've got some alignment, something really cool that's going to break, we'll work with them. But yeah, we're looking for guys that have already been in the business. Our sweet spot are guys that have been in the business, and a lot of times guys that want to get out of it. They have a shop and they don't want to run manufacturing and production, and they're like, I just want to wake up every day and sell and build my brand. Some of our best success stories are guys who shut their facilities down and trucked us all their stuff. Those are great success stories because they understand it. They can relate to it, and they really appreciate what we do for them, and it allows them just to keep exploding.
Joining us, Josh Kent at SunFrog. Print Hustlers, thank you guys for joining us every single week. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully that was informative. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy all the stuff we're putting out, it's really helpful. We love to just be able to see it. That means that we're doing a good job. To subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and hit the like button. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.